In this video, I'm breaking down Peter McKinnon's color grading, look, his vibe, his feeling that you get when you watch one of his videos. Let's get into it. So I'm on YouTube here. This first shot, right, we're looking at a lot of blacks that are very crushed. If you look here in his arm, his sleeve, the blacks on this part of the bench right here, just anywhere that you see a shadow or black, it's crushed down to the point where you can't see almost any detail. We'll play it back real quick and we'll watch this segment. Now, I don't mean that literally there's no detail. I just mean that overall, if you're gonna have some detail in the shadows like you might see in this video, his video particularly has like zero, quite intently, in my opinion. This is a nice shot. Not only is it a nice shot because the camera and the lens that he's deciding to use for this, which is probably the R5C, but overall, once again, he's exposing properly, so he's not under or overexposing in this shot particularly. And you can see a lot of blues in the shadows here. Any of the magentas are pushed into the greens as well. You can see, like, naturally speaking, brown has some magenta prevalence in it, and probably more than blue, and that's just my opinion. In this case, the brown leather of the gloves has a slightly blue-green shove, but overall, it gives a grungy, dark, gritty vibe. It doesn't feel like a happy little cheery video, and as we click through here, it's very contrasty, very punchy, very sharp, and that's usually, at least it seems to be his style. Now that we kind of broke down the fact that we kind of identified what his color consists of, let's go into our own footage, screen grab from the video we just watched, and we're gonna reference that and try to color grade our own shot of similar interest to see how close we can get and see if I was correct. I believe I am, but let's go hop in there real quick. We are in Premiere Pro. I have a shot here that you can tell if I play it back for you. I'll just pan through. We're in the woods, it's a van. It's not the same as the reference image we're using, which has a person in it, so we're not gonna have to worry about skin tones. That's a nice thing. First and foremost, we'll go back to our clip. I'll find a nice point. I think that's pretty much the general look of the footage. Bring the adjustment layer in, add comparison view. If you don't have that, you can go to button editor, add comparison view. But we're gonna reference comparison view like that. Click it, now it will choose the frame from the first frame to this frame when it decides to stop lagging on me. So now that we're in comparison mode, I did the top and bottom stacked one, this little horizontal split as they call it. So now we can kind of get an idea of what we're working with and we can see both shots. First and foremost, once again, let's take our blacks. So click the adjustment layer. That's what we want to affect. Let's bring the blacks down to the point where they are pretty crushed. I'd say -40s is probably a good reference point. Once again, no detail there in the black, very little detail in the darkest parts of the shadows. So I'm gonna bring the blacks up a bit, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Bring the shadows down, and I'm gonna bring my whites up tiny bit, just a tiny bit. Now, we talked about having blues in the shadows. Right now I'm seeing a lot of greens in the shadows as the primary color in the shadow. We don't want that. We want the primary color to be blue with a hint of green, which once again ends up being cyan. So we're gonna go over here to our color wheels and match. Now we can do two things. One, we can apply a match by just pressing apply, and it will take the comparison view that we already have and apply and analyze the color of it and apply it to the shot. I'd say this is a pretty damn decent color grade match. It's not perfect, so we're gonna keep working at it. We kind of have less greens in our shadows than we just did. If I turn that off, you'll see what I'm talking about. That was a lot of blue and green. Now we have a more subtle blue and green, still there. I wanna go ahead and drag this back down a bit more cyan like we mentioned. And I think that is a pretty nice medium, because once again, it's not an overpowering blue. It's just a little bit. And now that we have this, once again, we'll turn this off to see what it was beforehand. You can see the reds here. They're a little bit too red for my taste. So we're gonna go to the HSL secondary. I'm gonna turn off this comparison view so I can see the whole shot. And I'm gonna pick that red color on this anchor up front. So now we know that the most red thing in the shot, we can push away from red and closer once again to like the green cyan range, just a tiny bit. We don't wanna lose the red detail. We just don't wanna have it be like a strong color. So bring that down in the correction tab, just a tiny bit. Maybe actually push that back up a bit. And before, after, it's so subtle, but it will also affect, the kind of magentas we're seeing here in the sand as well. That being said, I think that this shot is pretty similar to the original color grade of that. Now, the lighting's different, the camera's different. There are differences, obviously, between this shot and this shot. There's a lot more green happening here. There's not much green in this shot particularly. But overall, if we're just gonna pan through this shot, I think all in all, we have a pretty similar look. If you threw this in the video, I don't think it'd be too far off. You might feel it differently, and once again, this is a quick breakdown. I don't wanna go too deep into it, but at the end of the day, if you're not happy with it, you can always play around with the midtones and highlights as well. And now when I watch it back, overall, it's not a bad shot. It kind of feels similar. It's not perfect. If I were to copy the look, right, this is probably what I would do, and now I would spend more time on it. But as a whole, I think he's going more for the grungy, dark, cold vibes, and I feel like this kind of does that. If you guys enjoyed this video, I know it was a little bit unorthodox, let me know in the comments below if you want a part 2 to like this. Not for Peter Mckinnon, but maybe for another creator. Let me know the creator you want down below. You get the deal. Let me know if we should do another video like this and another breakdown, and if we should do these every week as an extra video. Okay, I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Good night, goodbye. It's nighttime, which is rare for me to film at, but whatever. Okay, bye. Peace.